wonderful people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing. Please, if you are new to this channel and you are here to subscribe, kindly touch on the subscribe button and also hit on the notification bell to enable you get a notification once I upload new video. In today's tutorial, we are going to be making a 6 pieces up shoulder gown. So I'll be making use of this fabric. This fabric is 6 years. So let's get started. Okay, my fabric is folded into 2. So to get what I'll be cutting out, I'm dividing my hip measurement, which is the largest part of the body measurement. So I'll be dividing my hip measurement by 6, which is the largest part of the downside I'm working with is the hip measurement. I will divide it by 6, and the hip that I'm working with is 43 inches. Divided by 6 will give us 7.1. So I'll be adding extra 1 inch for seam allowance. First, I'm going to measure out waist to new measurement. I'll be using 19 inches. This depends on how tall the person is. You can use 21 inches, 20 inches, or lesser than this, depend on the person's height. I will measure out my gown length. The gown length I'm working with is 63 inches. 63 inches, I'll be minusing my half length, which is 17 inches, to get my gown length. So here is 60. Let me check what is remaining. So this is it. I will use this fabric length for it. This is 46 inches. Now I'm going to measure out from this place towards the folded side. Remember that I said 43 divided by 6 will give us 7.1. Then I will add 1 inch to it, making it 8.1. So since our fabric is folded into 2, I'm going to divide this 8.1 by 2. So 8.1 divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. So I will measure out. I'll be using 4.1. So I will mark this down to my new measurement. So I'm marking out 4.1. So I will mark this 4.1 down to my new measurement. There is 4.1. So at this new measurement, I will go in by ½ inch. So I'm going to connect this. Now at this hemline, it depends on how wide you want yours to be. You can choose to use 16 inches or 20 inches. Remember, you still divide it by 2 since our fabric is folded into 2. So I'll be using 20 inches divided by 2 will give us 10 inches. So I'm going to connect this from my new measurement down to this. See the way I'm placing my ruler. So this is it. So this is it. So I'm going to use this now to cut extra 5. So I will just be placing it on top to cut extra 5. Remember, I will still be folding them into 2. Use this one, place on top, and so I will just be placing this on top of my fabric. Say cut out the same thing. As you can see, this now is into 5 pieces. So I will cut out the zip side. I will still fold my fabric into 2. The zip side will be into 2. Okay, for the zipper side, I'm going to use 3 inches. That's 6 inches. When you fold it, it will give us 3 inches. When you fold it and divide it by 2, it will give us 3 inches. So I will still mark out 3 inches down to nail measurement. Remember, we are using 19 inches for nail measurement. So I will use my ruler to connect it. So this is what I just need. I will use the other part, place it on top of this. So here is. So I will still curve it out. With my ruler. So why I placed this is to get this new curve that I did here. Just to get the other pieces that I cut out, place it on top of your fabric, trace it out, and the downside will still be 10 inches. So I will go ahead and cut this out now. So this will be into 2. So this is it for the zip side. I will still use this one to cut out the second part of the zip side. So I will still fold into 2. Use this zip side, place it on top of my fabric, and still cut out the same thing. this is it for the zip side. So you can also use this method to cut out 6 pieces skirt. You just to measure your skirt length, divide it by 6, and still cut out the same thing that I did. So now I will go over to the upper part of our gown, which is up shoulder side. Okay, for the upper part, which is up shoulder, I will still fold my fabric into 2. So I'm cutting the back upper part first. I'll mark out my zip allowance and also mark out my half length. As I'm using 2 inches for zip allowance, I will measure it and mark it out. So this line is for my zip allowance. So this is where my measurement is starting from. So this is where my measurement will start from. So for the up shoulder, I'm minusing 6 inches to get my top length, to get my half length. So see where I'm starting my measurement from. So I will minus 6 inches from this line to get my half length. The half length I'm working with is 16 inches. So I'll be adding 1 inch for joining allowance. Okay, this is it for my half length. I will take my bust measurement, shoulder to bust measurement. Remember, we are minusing 6 inches, is 12 inches. So here I will take my bust measurement. The bust I'm working with is 40 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 10 inches. I will take 2 inches for seam allowance. The waist I'm working with is 34.5 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 8.6. So here is 8.6. So at this waistline, I will add 1 inch for that and 2 inches seam allowance, making it 3 inches. So I will connect from my bust down to waist measurement. To get my arm hole, I will take my shoulder measurement. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. So where I mark 8 inches, I will go in by 1 inch. For the armhole, I will still minus 6 inches. The armhole I'm working with is 18 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 9 inches. So this is 9 inches. I will also move down here by 1 inch. It depends on what you want, how wide you want your armhole to be. So I'm going to slant this like this. So this is for my armhole measurement. For the neckline, for the back neckline, I'm using 2 inches. So I'm going to curve it from this place I mark for armhole. So I will curve it like this. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. So this is for the back side of our gown. So I will still fold my fabric into two again to cut out the front upper part. Okay, for the front upper part, remember we are minusing 6 inches to get shoulder to bust measurement. I will still minus 6 inches to get shoulder to bust measurement, which is 12 inches. Half length is 16 inches. I'll be adding 1 inch for seam allowance, so I will mark them out. Okay, this is it. This is shoulder to bust line. This is half length, shoulder to half length, and this is joining allowance. And the bust to bust measurement that I'm working with is 8 inches divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. So here is 4 inches. I'll be adding half inch for seam allowance, making it 4.5 inches. So I'm going to measure 4.5 inches. Mark a straight line with my ruler. Okay, now towards this folded side, I will go in here by 1 inch. Towards the unfolded side, I will go in, I'll measure out 1.5 inches. So towards this folded side, measure 1 inch from this bust to bust measurement line here. Towards this side, measure at 1.5 inches, and still repeat the same thing at this waist measurement. 1.5 inch towards this side. Okay, where I mark shoulder to bust measurement, go up by 1 inch. Also go down here by 1 inch. So I'm going to connect this 1 inch here down to this 1 inch that I measured up here. Connect this 1.5 inch to this place. From this waistline, I will also connect this 1 inch down to this 1 inch that I moved down here, and also connect this 1.5 down to this 1 inch that I moved down here. So I will use my ruler to do that. So this is it. This is it. Now I will take my bust measurement, which is 40 inches divided by 2 will give us 10 inches. See where my measurement is starting from. I will add 2 inches for seam allowance. At this waistline, the waist I'm working with is 34.5 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 8.6. Here is 8.6. So now at this waistline, remember that we'll move in here by 1 inch, and this side 1.5 inches. Together it will give us 2.5 inches. I will still add that up here. Then add my seam allowance, 2 inches. Connect from my waist down to my connect from the bust down to my waist measurement. Now for the armhole, I'm going to use the back side. This is my bust measurement. So I'm going to use the back side, place it on top of this to get what I want for my armhole. So this is it for my armhole. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this is what I'm cutting out. So this is it. So after joining them, I will then cut out my neckline. I'll also go ahead and cut out the lining that I'll be using for them. I'll be using breast cup for it. Okay, I've finished cutting out the lining. This is the two zip side. So this is how to line this. I'm going to stitch the lining separate. Okay, this is how I'm going to join them. I will get 3 of this front part and join them together, right side facing towards the right side, like this. Open it up. Also join another one to this one, to this side. Open it up like this. So this front part will be like this. For the back, I will get one side of the zip side and one side of the 4.1 inches that I cut out. So this is one part of the zip side. So I'm going to attach one part of the zip side to this 4.1 inches that I measured out. It will be like this. This is for one side of the zip. This is for the second side of the zip. And when you're attaching this zip side, if this smaller one is at the top of this side, the second one, the smaller side will be under. So that after stitching 2 of them, they will still be facing the same side. So if you are placing this smaller one on top of this for one part of the zip side, the other side, this smaller one will be under, while the bigger part will be on top of it like this. So I will go to my machine and stitch this, and I will still join the lining the same way before attaching the lining to this fabric. This is the front upper part. I've joined them together. This is the dampener. This is the zip side, the 2 zip and back side. So next thing that I'm going to do now, this is the upper part. I will close this place up, insert that, and then attach it to this dampener of this gown. So the zip side will be towards the zip side, like this. to fall over. I will still repeat the same thing on the second part of the back side. Okay, I will still attach this front upper part and the down part, making sure that the two lines are on top of each other. So before I do that, I will cut out the neckline. For the front neckline, I'll be using 2.5 inches. So I'm going to curve it from here. So I'm cutting this out. I'll go ahead and cut this and also repeat the same thing on the lining. Line it, then attach it to the down panel of our gown. Okay, this is it. I've joined the upper part and the lower part together. And this is the toe back. So now I'm going to insert zip. I'll be using 2 inches for zip. So I'm going to insert zip here. Then take body measurement. Okay, this is it. Next thing now to do is to take body measurement. So now I'll be dividing my body measurement by 2. So I will divide my bust by 2, waist measurement by 2, and also hip measurement by 2. Then close this side up. Okay, this is it. This is the zip side. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please, if you're here to subscribe, kindly touch on the subscribe button to subscribe, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to be notified whenever I upload new video. See you guys in my next tutorial. Love you guys. Bye.